KORK North Bay, your source for news and happenings throughout the North Bay.
Hello and thanks for watching KORK North Bay TV. Coming up is our weekend wrap covering all the news stories and happenings that took place over the weekend throughout the greater San Francisco North Bay. On Friday afternoon in the eastern hills between the two quaint towns of Cotati and Pengrove, a tragic fire broke out in a two-story home on the 1400 block of Susan Lane that ended up being a total loss for the home. The fire broke out just before 3 o'clock in the afternoon when calls were made to 911 about heavy smoke and flames being seen coming from the home. When fire crews arrived, the home was fully engulfed, so crews not only got to work battling the fire, but because of the dry terrain up in those eastern hills where homes and ranches are located, they called for backup to help keep the fire from turning into a wildfire raging through those hills. So about 60 firefighters in all showed up to the scene, plus an air unit in case it was needed as well. Thankfully, fire crews were able to keep the fire contained to just the one home, but unfortunately the home was a total loss with damages estimated to be over $1.7 million. The fire is displacing a family of 4, including 2 children, but thankfully no one in that family was injured or worse in the fire. The Red Cross will be helping them with temporary shelter and other needs. The cause of the fire hasn't been determined yet, but is under investigation. This was another great job by our beloved first responders. On Saturday, first responders were called to the beautiful but rugged and dangerous Sonoma County coastline in the Ocean Cove campground area, which is a few miles north of Fort Ross along the scenic Highway 1, after a man got too close to the ocean's cliff edge and ended up sliding down the cliff to the rocks below, which was about a 30-foot drop. During the fall, the man's leg was badly injured and he couldn't move. Local firefighters were called, but they couldn't get down to the man, so a couple of bystanders climbed down the cliff to get to him and assembled a makeshift splint for his leg until better equipped first responders could arrive. Already en route was Henry 1, the Sonoma County Sheriff's helicopter, along with several other units, including the Timber Cove Fire Protection District, Coast Life Support District, California State Parks, and a Reach medical helicopter. Henry 1 arrived at the scene first and was outfitted with a 100-foot long line where the flight officer and a rescue basket were attached and lowered down to the patient, where he was then placed inside the basket and then airlifted up and over to an awaiting Reach medical chopper, who then transported him to the hospital. Man, I love watching our first responders in action, don't you? This was another great job by our beloved first responders and a stark reminder to enjoy the views, but never forget that the coastline is a rugged and dangerous place and that the cliff's edges can be unstable, so never get too close. In the Lake County town of Upper Lake, a tragic event took place that shattered the lives of 2 families in the area after a domestic violence incident severely injured one person and ended up being fatal for the other. This tragedy took place on Friday at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon when a former boyfriend and girlfriend couple got into some sort of an argument that turned violent after the former boyfriend, identified as 39-year-old Robert Lovren, who everyone called Bobby, physically assaulted his ex-girlfriend and then shot her several times. The identity of his ex-girlfriend has not been released yet, but she was flown to a trauma center by chopper to be treated for life-threatening injuries. Thankfully, she was later listed in stable condition. Before being flown out, she told deputies that the assault and the shooting incident itself took place at another residence up the street, and that she had fled to this residence to get away, and that she believed Bobby was still at the other home. So the deputies went to that other home, and for their safety, knowing that Bobby had been armed, they deployed a drone to check the area, and they found Bobby outside the residence with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Deputies then moved in and found Bobby deceased from a self-inflicted gunshot. This is a tragic story for both families, and one that hits close to home for a lot of people, because even though the Clear Lake area is broad, the towns and communities around the lake are pretty close-knit, and a lot of people and families know each other. This sad story affects two families as well as others that were close-knit. Our condolences go out to both families, and we hope the woman makes a full recovery. In Napa on Sunday, first responders were busy handling two different incidents, which really showed the diversity of what they're capable of responding to. The first incident took place in the morning when a traffic collision between two buses took place, with the smaller of the two ending up on its side. The collision took place on Jamison Canyon Road at South Kelly Road when a Sunday church bus collided with a smaller Napa tour bus, which caused the tour bus to roll over on its side. This accident caused the closure of eastbound traffic on Jamison Canyon Road for about an hour while crews tended to the scene. According to the report, the church bus ran the red light at the intersection with 6 people on board as it T-boned the smaller Sprinter van tour bus, which thankfully no one was on board except the driver. The driver of the smaller tour bus did sustain some minor injuries and was transported to the hospital for treatment, but none of the people on the larger church bus were injured. The scene was cleared and traffic was flowing again about an hour and a half after the incident. And then later that same afternoon, up at Lake Berryessa, a woman walking along a shoreline trail near Markley Cove slipped and took a bad spill that ended up breaking her leg. Rescue crews from Spanish Flat Station 24 and CAL FIRE's Sonoma Lake Napa unit, along with the Sonoma County Sheriff's Marine unit, were called to the scene. The sheriff's patrol boat moored up along shore and tended to the woman to get her stabilized enough to transport her over to a nearby boat ramp where an ambulance was waiting to transport her to the hospital. An air rescue chopper was initially called, but was later canceled because the sheriff's boat and the other crews at the scene already had the situation under control. This was yet another great job by our beloved first responders. On Saturday near Fairfield in the little area of Cordelia at about 5:40 in the afternoon, a tragic vehicle accident took place that took the lives of a husband and wife when their car went off the road after going through a guardrail and crashing into a creek off of Neitzel Road, which is on the west side of the I-80 freeway where highways 12 and 680 meet near the business center shopping area at Green Valley Road. This story hits home for me personally because of the man driving the car who lost his life along with his wife is an old friend of mine from when I grew up in the East Bay before moving up here to Sonoma. The couple who passed away in this tragic accident were Bill and Darla Taggart. Bill's family owned Taggart's Auto Clinic on San Pablo Avenue in San Pablo. I used to frequent their family auto repair facility called Taggart's Auto Clinic when I delivered parts to them back in the 70s when I worked at a local auto parts store. The Taggarts were a much-loved family by everyone in the area and were well known because they raced cars and always had a couple of them parked in front of their family auto shop, including the famous Munn's Root Beer Special. Their auto shop was started by Bill's father, who was very well known, and it ran from 1964 to 2004. Bill was known for piloting many different types of race cars, including motorcycles, dragsters, modified stock cars, and so on. Unfortunately, on Saturday, their white sedan was seen traveling at what was described as an extremely high rate of speed with its emergency flashers on as it took the off-ramp off westbound I-80 and then headed south on Neitzel Road. When they got to the curve towards the end of the road, their vehicle went through the guardrail and then traveled through a small wooded area off the side of I-80 and then launched across a creek, coming to a stop with both he and his wife Darla sustaining major injuries that tragically proved to be fatal for the both of them. Bill was driving the car, and I can tell you from my own experience that if he had his flashers on and was traveling that fast, there was a reason for it. Like Darla had a medical emergency or something and he was hightailing it to the hospital or something. That's not a fact, but knowing Bill, that's my guess because he was a very skilled and responsible driver and wouldn't drive that way unless there was a very good reason for it, especially if his emergency flashers were on. We'll find out when detectives complete their investigation. This was a tragic loss and they will be deeply missed. My condolences go out to both of their families. This broadcast is sponsored by Mike Larbury Automotive. 5-star ratings for all of your domestic and import automotive repair needs, located on Highway 12 in Sonoma. Mention you saw them here on KORK TV to receive a special discount. And also by Sonoma Paint Center, your source for all of your home and automotive paint and supply needs.
Transform your home or business with Sonoma Paint Center. As your local Benjamin Moore retailer, we've got everything you need to paint inside and out, plus top quality stains. Step inside our Santa Rosa location or visit us in Sonoma, Sebastopol, and now our newest location in Napa. From vibrant colors to durable finishes and required supplies, we'll help you bring your vision to life. Sonoma Paint Center, serving you at Santa Rosa, Sonoma, Sebastopol, and now Napa. Sonoma Paint Center, color your world.
Well, that's it for our weekend wrap. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We'll see you again on Friday for our weekly wrap. Remember, you can watch us on our website at KORKTV.com, or you can also watch us on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, or on our new YouTube channel. In any of those platforms, just search for KORK North Bay TV and add our channel to your favorites. We'd sure appreciate it. We'd like to wish everyone a safe, healthy, and happy week. Thanks for watching.